to In Living Color, Fall Foliage Tours in Massachusetts. I'm Mary McGuire, Director of Public and Legislative Affairs at AAA Northeast, and there's nothing I like more than hitting the road, hiking or steering a kayak through the incredible fall scenery that we're all lucky enough to enjoy here in New England every year. It's a great way to social distance as well, whether you're in your car, on the water, or in the woods. All ideal ways to get space and distance and enjoy the fall colors at the same time. There's beauty all around us this fall, and given the tumultuous times we're living in right now, appreciating natural beauty is perhaps more important than ever. The October edition of Yankee Magazine really says it all. Fall foliage returns, and we have never needed it more. So true, and local meteorologists are predicting a sunny and colorful holiday weekend coming up, so that's an added bonus. Joining us now to discuss the best ways to enjoy the leaves here in Massachusetts are three travel experts. Diane Burnett, manager of the Johnny Appleseed Center in North Central Massachusetts, Jonathan Butler, president and CEO of One Berkshire, and Bill D'Souza Mock, founder of DEMA Public Relations, who knows all the scenic highways and byways of Cape Cod and the islands. Welcome to all of you, and thank you to our panelists and our audience for joining us today. This program is being recorded if you'd like to share it with friends later, and we're also excited to be simulcasting our webinar today on Pittsfield Community TV. So thank you to our new friends there. We really appreciate the simulcast, and that will bring up potentially 20,000 new viewers in at some point on community access. So that's terrific. I also encourage you and our audience who are watching right now to ask questions. We will be able to see them on our screen, and we will put your questions to our panelists. So please don't be shy, ask questions. That's what we're here for today. So Bill D'Souza Mock, let's start with you and beautiful Cape Cod. So I was just lucky enough to spend a week there in South Yarmouth last week, and I have to say there was a lot of color even on my drive down Route 495 South and 25 South to Cape Cod. So give us a sense of what there is to see on the Cape at this time of year, Bill, and the best ways to see the sights.
Will do, will do. First of all, I'm not going to assume that everyone listening is familiar with Cape Cod, so I'm going to give you a brief overview. Cape Cod is a 68-mile long peninsula, which is about 20 miles wide, and it is 586 miles of seacoast, 424 square miles of terrain, 115 beaches, 83 museums, 996 ponds, 30 rivers, 150 miles of bicycle paths, 362 hotels, 82 museums, 42 golf courses, 1,100 restaurants, 252 bed and breakfasts, 2,254 places to shop, 82 harbors, 57 fairs, 10 baseball teams, 147 antique shops, hundreds and hundreds of miles of hiking trails, and 78 band concerts. So the Cape is bounded on the west by Buzzards Bay, on the north by the Cape Cod Canal, Cape Cod Bay, on the east by the Atlantic Ocean, up to Chatham, and then from Chatham to the Mid-Cape, it's Nantucket Sound, and then from Nantucket Sound to Falmouth, Vineyard Sound. So that's a geographical overview and kind of a demographic overview of the Cape Cod Peninsula.
That's the best description of Cape Cod by the numbers that I've ever heard, Bill.
I didn't give
sound even better than it is.
I didn't give you all of it, but there are many varieties of trees, and of course, trees are the reasons that we're here today to talk about the various kinds of trees. I'm sure most people know that deciduous trees are the only ones that really have foliage. Pine trees don't really have leaves per se, so they kind of remain green all year. But on the Cape, we have so many varieties of trees such as scrub oak, juniper, white cedar, white pine, American holly, elm trees. Shawnee Forest has 8,300 acres of pine trees, including a section that has Japanese black pines, silver oak, bay-leaved willow, tupelo, hop hornbeam, white spruce, white and black oak, black cherry, downy serviceberry, gray birch, American beech, green ash, red maple, sassafras, and willow. Deciduous trees, of course, change colors in autumn into a wide spectrum of colors ranging from bright red to deep maroon. In addition to foliage, This time of year, from mid-October to mid-November, we have a large number of cranberry bogs that need to be harvested. I did run into one yesterday that was just at the end of being harvested, but if you're lucky enough to run into a bog or learn that one is being harvested, everyone runs there with their cameras, their easels, to observe it, because it's quite an interesting operation. There is a bog in Harwich called, owned by someone who's a former county commissioner, and he has Cranberry Bog Tours 9 months of the year. They're $15 per person and reservation only, and it's easy to remember. Cranberry Bog Tours is the website. So if you want to see it, at least get an idea how a bog is harvested, his is dry harvested versus the wet harvest that you see in some of the pictures below. But it's definitely, I mean, I've been on the tour. It's a great tour, and it's quite a fascinating site. Other ways to see foliage on the Cape, there is a wonderful museum in Falmouth called Highfield Hall. Last year, a designer called Patrick Doherty went to Highfield Hall, and he created this structure all out of willow saplings that's absolutely huge, and you actually walk through it. And of course, while visiting this, which is completely free, you're surrounded by BB Woods, which is about 400 acres of hardwood forest, which is quite fascinating. Now, other ways to view foliage. There are 20 cycling trails on the Cape, a total of 150 miles. And the largest ones are the 2 trails on either side of the Cape Cod Canal, the Cape Cod Rail Trail, which was recently expanded 3.5 miles to 25.5 miles. West Barnstable Conservation Area is one of the largest conservation areas on the Cape. That alone has 21 miles of mountain biking trails. It is a NEMBA, New England Mountain Biking Association, favorite pick. That one and the Francis Crane Wildlife Sanctuary, which has 38 miles of mountain biking trails, are superb places for mountain biking, but they have very wide and diverse deciduous forests, so the color is absolutely amazing. There are cycling paths throughout almost in every single town on the Cape. Another great way to see foliage is on Cape Cod's 30 rivers. You can kayak, canoe, or stand-up paddle, and there are about 12 rivers that drain into Cape Cod Bay, 11 rivers that drain into Nantucket Sound, 3 that drain into Buzzards Bay, and they're all kayak ready. The only one that I was telling Mary yesterday that I would be cautious is the Bass River, because it's a tidal river and it has very strong tidal surges at either end. Another great way to explore foliage on the Cape is to take a ride along the Old Kings Highway. Mary, I'm sure you're familiar with this, Route 6A. It is around 62 miles from Bourne to Provincetown. It runs from just under the Sagamore Bridge all the way to Provincetown, and it ends at Pilgrim's First Landing Park in the west end of Provincetown. And it is an absolutely amazing road. It is not a straight highway that you can't get off. It passes through 11 of the Cape's 15 towns. It is basically the main street of these towns or villages. And as you go through them, you'll find galleries, bakeries, restaurants, craft studios, amazing architecture, because the Cape was first settled in the 17th century. So we have 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th century architecture along that route. We're currently working now to have it designated a National Scenic Byway. Not quite yet, but it's going to happen. We know that for sure.
Good luck. It should be. Certainly seems that it should be.
The paperwork is absolutely amazing. It's also the longest contiguous historic district in the United States. So if you want to get to Provincetown but don't want to get on the highway and not be able to see anything except you know, 3 other lanes and exit signs. This is the way to do it. It is not a high-speed drive. I mean, you have to take your time. People are taking pictures or lost or trying to find something, so they may slow down, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Now, on the Cape, we also have, they're really kind of uncountable because no one has the total number, but we have conservation trails and wildlife sanctuaries. Nass Audubon has 6 wildlife sanctuaries on the Cape: Ashamet, Holly Wildlife Sanctuary in East Falmouth, Sampson's Island Wildlife Sanctuary, Skunk Net River Wildlife Sanctuary, both of those in Osterville, Barnstable Great Marsh Wildlife Sanctuary in Barnstable, Long Pasture in Barnstable, and Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary in Wellfleet, which is perhaps the most significant. It is very much involved in ocean warming and a lot of the blue economy movement that the Cape Cod Chamber is currently involved with. And it is over 1,000 acres and truly magnificent. Very strongly recommend if you can get out there. This exemplifies, I think, the kind of maritime foliage that we talked about earlier: beach grasses, all kinds of ferns and sedges that you find in the marsh. Then I have a listing. Every single town on the Cape has a conservation trust or conservation department. I have all the links here. Anyone who's interested in getting a copy of the document I have in front of me, which contains a tremendous amount of information about where to find conservation trails on the Cape, the sanctuaries that Mass Audubon has, plus the trustees of reservations properties. I'm happy to make that available. In addition to that, there are 2 state wildlife management areas: Francis Crane Wildlife Management Area, 1,800 acres, that runs basically from the Bourne Bridge to the Mashpee Rotary. It's absolutely tremendous. And Hyannis Ponds Wildlife Management Area that has 365 acres of pond woods and sand roads and has 12 unique species of both sedges and grasses and animals that do not exist anywhere else in the United States. Another way to view in a very exciting way is to take biplane rides. Marston's Mills has Cape Cod Airfield, and they also have an operation out of Provincetown. These biplane airplanes, and I hear them buzzing over. I live in Osterville. I hear them buzzing over all day. I mean, they go from 6 in the morning until 6 at night, nonstop, 20 minutes each. But the people say it's just absolutely amazing to see all this beauty from above. I mean, I've never been on a plane like that, but my friends were telling me that they did it for an anniversary gift to each other. And they went on and they said, we've lived here for 30 years and we've never seen the Cape like this before. Highly recommended, but save your money because it's not inexpensive. It's about $250 for 20 minutes.
Wow.
In Chatham, there's also an aero tour operator called Stick and Rudder Aero Tours, which also I don't know much about them, but I assume it's something comparable. Cape Cod Central Railroad departs from downtown Hyannis, and they do have their excursion trains, which can take you to Buzzards Bay, to West Barnstable, and I think there is one more stop. But especially this time of year, as you traverse the northern side of the Cape, you will see cranberry bogs and considerable amount of foliage, and also the marshes. Watch cranberries being harvested. As I said, if you can get to find the Jenkin brothers, they do a lot of contract harvesting of bogs because they have quite an operation. I've gone on their website, I've called them, they said there is no schedule because cranberries are harvested when they have a little bit of a frost the night before. The next day it's perfect. It also is dictated by when the receiving company can accept the berries. But of all of the options for watching fall color or viewing fall color, the very best is to visit some of the Cape's, I don't even know, it has to be 400 or 500 conservation trails. Some are quite large, many are not so large, but they are by and large the absolutely best way to view our foliage, because many of the property that is not included in these conservation lands have been made into subdivisions, so many of those trees have been gone, but these are large concentrations of foliage, and they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm gonna give someone else a chance.
Great things. Yeah, which is one of the great things,
Yeah.
365 days a year. And let's not forget about the color of those beautiful Cape Cod sunsets too, which we just saw in your last photo, but all great pictures. And what a tremendous comprehensive list. And before we hear from Diane, I'll add one thing to your list, and that is that when we were on the Cape last week, we had a very, very windy day, which I know we had in other parts of Massachusetts too. I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And I know we're expecting another windy day tomorrow on the Cape, and the kiteboarders were out on West Tennessee Beach. And I was amazed because it's really an event on the Cape. People brought out their chairs. There were a lot of professional photographers out there with long lenses. And if you haven't seen these people, they're just amazing because they're moving at a really amazing clip, and they're in the air, soaring up in the air. And, you know, windsurfers out there as well, and it's really entertaining. Yeah, people came and brought chairs and spent the afternoon, and it's pretty mesmerizing. So I'll add that.
Also in Calmus Beach, at the very end of Ocean Street, that is a huge windsurfing beach, and that is the passage where the Nantucket Ferry departs from. You can see it going by as you're sitting on the beach. But whenever there's a rainy day, a windy day, I know if I want to get a place at the beach to run down there, because the beach is completely filled with kite surfers. You can't even get a parking spot, but they are truly mesmerizing. And the beach has a sign in the middle that says kite sailing to the right, bathing to the left. So they have half the beach preserved for these guys. It is an amazing. And they're there in January.
Yeah, they are brave people, that's for sure. They really are. I've windsurfed. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to kite surf, but it really looks like a lot of fun. So I recommend it to anybody who's headed down to the Cape in the next few days or over the next month. So let us move across the state. Thank you very much, Phil, to Central Massachusetts, and to Diane Burnett, manager of the Johnny Appleseed Center. So Diane, let's start there. Tell us what the Johnny Appleseed Center is, where it is, and what it's all about, and why people should visit.
Be my pleasure. The Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center is in Lancaster on the westbound side of Route 2. We have been there for 23 years. So it's something that over the years, it's become a staple. People know that this is their halfway point. We have people that swap things at our visitor center. They come halfway across the state from the Cape or from Vermont, and we've seen all kinds of things swapped out at the visitor center. Children, horses, bikes, you name it. People come the halfway point. So it's known for being a good, safe place to stop, take a rest, grab a snack, buy something local, get information of where to go, what to do, pick up our recent guides, and they like the place. They do. It's one of the little nooks and crannies out there in North Central Mass. We have something new at the visitor center. It's the biggest apple in North Central Massachusetts, all in New England. Of all of New England is this apple, and it's huge. It's over 10 feet tall, and people are coming and getting their pictures taken with the biggest apple in New England. So it's a new cute thing that we have. There it is, out at the visitor center. So people love getting their photo with it. We have a statue of Johnny Appleseed out front. Johnny Appleseed is a local folk hero, as well as he was born in Leominster. So that's where we get the name of the visitor center from. Part of the property is in Leominster. So Johnny Appleseed is the namesake for it. So we have lots of memorabilia inside. We can tell you about the stories of the things that are on the walls, the paintings. We have spring, summer, fall, winter apple tree paintings on the walls. You can find local products from our farms. We buy local to try to help support one of the farms. And if they find it with us, then they'll go to the farms to buy more. So it's one of those fun, quirky things. We give away apples every fall. So right now we had to reinvent how we hand out the apples. They're in a nice little baggie that says, please take one. So we're handing out apples still. We still wanted to do our apples. Usually we do in the vicinity of 75 cases of apples, a crate, a big crate size, of apples every season. They're polished, they're cleaned, and they're put out for people to take them and go sample some of the wares of our region. We're very big in farms here, farmland, countryside, walks, hikes. It's very big. So we have a map that's in the visitor center that it's one of the best comprehensive hiking trail maps in the region. It has 188 hiking trails in it, and it represents 23 towns. So they all went in together, they gave all their information, and this map, you can go find the special place you want to go. If you want to walk along a lake, a river, a mountain, a stream, a meadow, you can find it with this particular map. So it's one of those fun things that you put in your back pocket and you pick a spot and you go for a walk. So that's just some of the information that we have in the visitor center that's there every day. We're open 9 to 5. Excuse me, every day of the year. So it's one of those great little things that you can come and do. We represent a lot of farmers in our area. So we'll have all their pamphlets, all their information. Our farms aren't your normal everyday farms anymore. They've kind of morphed into something else. Some of our farms have breweries on them. They have wineries now where they take their own apples and turn them into hard cider. They have picnic areas. They have live music. They have a barbecue. There's so many bits and pieces that you can bring into for your experience that now it's a whole day event where you pick your apples, you pick your pumpkins, you sit and have a cold glass of local brew, you have your lunch, you know, you pat the animals. It just goes on and on and on. It's not your everyday type of thing. And you're walking and you're seeing all this color around you. You can, some of them even have paths around them that you can take a hike while you go pick apples or pick blueberries or raspberries. It just depends. So for us, it's one of those fun things to do. And don't forget your apple cider donuts. It's that time of year. You got to get your apple cider donuts. We even sell them in the visitor center. We have a local farm that brings them to us fresh, and you can pick up your apple along the way. So it's one of those fun things. People go, oh, I love these things. So for us, it's a big deal to come to the country, come and see what there is. We have multiple wineries, breweries in our area. So we have Wachusett Brew, which is probably the biggest. Everybody knows the name Wachusett. We have Moon Hill, River Styx, Brew Spit, Stone Cow, Hardrick Winery, and Nashoba Valley Winery, all in our area. So they've turned into a destination. You come, you eat, have a great lunch, and you sit and drink your favorite beverage. So it's one of those fun things to do if you're an adult and you don't have the kids with you and want to go drink. We have that capability here too. So it's one of those things. You can try a couple of them in a day as long as you're responsible. Currently at the moment, we believe we're in the vicinity of 40 to 50% in our leaves. We have a lot of two types of trees here. We have the early maples, and then we have the ones that bloom later when it gets a little bit more frosty outside. So we're kind of really speckled at the moment that you can find beautiful green and orange and yellows mixed together in a hillside. So you can pick them both up at the same time. One of the bigger advantages of coming our way is the country roads. You pick a country road and you go for a ride. You can find all these beautiful farms set back off the road, green grasses still. There's so many places that you can just pick a route and go. We will give you a map if you stop in the visitor center, but I mean, any road off the highway, you can pick them up. Route 2 is a great vista for looking, but there's 2A, 140, 119, 110, 70, 13, 31, 202, Route 12, 62. This is just a few of them in our region that you're going to go these country roads over hill and dale. We'll throw it in there, throw it all in. But it's one of those things that you can pick. You can stop at a farm stand along the way. You can stop and pick pumpkins. You can find a cute little orchard that's along the side of the road that's selling their wares, or pick your own. So it's one of those fun things to do. One of the bigger things in our area is Mount Wachusett. People are hiking Mount Wachusett. There are 4 main trails that go up, so you can pick the easy, the medium, or the hard. I went up to the mountain a couple days ago, and by 9 o'clock, the parking lot was completely filled. So people are getting up, they're putting their sweaters on, and they're going for hikes. And on a clear day, you can see Boston. You used to be able, back in the day of seeing the tall ships, you could see their sails in Boston Harbor off the top of the mountain. So it's one of those great things to do, to get outside. They're doing, at the moment, sky rides on the weekend. So you can ride up to the top and you can come back down in the spectacular view, just spectacular. And it's a nice ride. It is. It's probably a guesstimation 10 to 15 degrees cooler by the time you get to the top. So make sure you dress appropriately. No short sleeves, okay? It's nice down at the bottom, but by the time you get to the top, it's a little chilly. So make sure you dress appropriately. But the mountain is one of those cool places to go and visit and ski in the wintertime. They have 33 trails in the wintertime. So it's one of those fun items out there. They're the highest point in the eastern part of the state. They're at 1,998 feet high. So they're pretty high up there. So you get quite a lovely view. You absolutely do. Hang on. Hiking trails. We have multiple locations in our area for hiking. Rail trails, we have 3 of them in our area, and they're actually building a brand new one. So we'll have 4 good-sized trails that you can walk, baby buggies, strollers, hike, run, you know, whatever your pleasure is. So people are really getting into getting outdoors, and this is one of those good avenues where you can do that, where you can go out and park your car and go for a walk, do a loop, come back around kind of things. We have one of our fun little quirky businesses that we have is Nashoba Paddler. You can get in a canoe and you can go for a ride floating down the river. They have turtle tours. They have night tours. You can go check out the turtles. You can go and have a lunch. It's one of those things that it's quiet, it's outdoors, it's enjoyable, and you're seeing all the fall color that there is from a different perspective. You're looking at a different perspective when you're on the water. So it's one of those fun, unique things to do. We have places here that you can do yoga with alpacas. It's still a little chilly to do yoga, but that people are coming. They're getting the fall leaves, they're getting the alpaca, they're getting their yoga, and they're getting the experience to be outside and pay attention to what's going on. In the ride to get there is very scenic, so you're getting your fall foliage all at the same time. So it's unique. It truly is one of those kind of places that we are welcoming people to come to the country, come to the farms, come buy local products. Once you've bought that jam or jelly, you're hooked. You'll come back year after year and come and do those things to, you know, try to give your family the ambiance of every year. As soon as the first frost hits, we're inundated. People finally think it's cold, I have to go apple picking. So a note to folks is when the first frost hits, that next morning is the best time to come and pick your apples. That's what the farmers tell us, is that first frost does something to the apples and just makes them glorious. So that's one of the things you have to remember is first frost, definitely come and pick apples. We have waterfalls in our area. There's lots of hiking trails that you can pick up these waterfalls, and people go from fall to fall looking for them to find them and see what's out there. We have a lot of walking property that some of these go through trustees of reservation properties, DCR conservation, state parks. So all of these things are listed on our website for people to get out there and see what there is for them to do. We even have a covered bridge in our area. There's only 2 in the state, and we have one of them. It's in Pepperell. So they rebuilt it. The other one had fallen down over years and years of use, and there's a beautiful new covered bridge in the Pepperell vicinity. People are coming to fish and hike and come outdoors and enjoy themselves. So that's what we offer here in North Central. We want people to come, have a good time, bring your families, come for the day, find a new favorite spot to get outside safely. We have lots of safely open spaces. So we have a lot going on. I mean, people come to horseback ride. There's a lot in the vicinity for them to do.
Wow, another tremendous comprehensive list, Diane. And I have to say, I love the turtle tours idea and the yoga with alpacas. Who would have thought,
Yes.
you know, great, creative,
They
unique
do.
activity that is. So, you know,
We
it's
have a lot of
interesting.
alpacas in the area. We do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned that, I think you said you got to Wachusett and the parking lot was packed at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you find that you've seen kind of a resurgence in interest in hiking as a way to socially distance, get exercise, get out and see the scenery? Do you see that it's more popular
Yes.
this year?
That's what people are doing. They figure it's the safe thing to do is to find something, go find nature and get outside, get a map, go walking, hiking. They stop and get some granola bars and stuff them in their pockets, and off they go. So it's one of those fun things that you can see them coming. They're dressed for the hike. They are. You can hear. It's like the skiers in the wintertime when they come in. You can hear them going. Swish, 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 swish.
Yeah.
They got their ski pants on, so
I'm a
you
fan
can
of
see them when
Wachusett.
they come in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've skied there
it's one of those
several
great
times.
places.
Yeah,
It
it really
is. So
is.
people are going outside. They're going to farms. The farms are doing very well because people are coming outside, and it's the same thing. So people are looking for a safe haven, and coming to the country is a safe haven.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's true across the state. And you're making us hungry, Diane, with all you're talking about cider donuts and granola bars, and it's almost lunchtime. So everybody's
Almost.
going to be having a cider donut for lunch. Well, thank you so much. And we are
You're very
now
welcome.
going to move to the beautiful Berkshires and our friend Jonathan Butler. And of course, the Berkshires is home to one of the most famous foliage trails in the United States, the Mohawk Trail. So Jonathan, so many great routes in the Berkshires. Why don't you tell us about the best way to see all of the terrific scenery and historic sites there?
Sure. And first off, thank you, Mary, and the team at AAA Northeast for having us on to this program. It's a treat for us, and we always love the opportunity to talk a little bit about what's happening here in the Berkshires. So much like Bill laid out in the Cape, we have a lot of similarities in the Berkshires to the Cape, but instead of the ocean, we rely on our mountains and our lakes and our rivers for a lot of recreation and really just kind of a beautiful visual backdrop that we all get to live here and welcome visitors to enjoy. So I'll start by just laying out a little bit of kind of the geography of the region so that everybody has a clear visual of that if you're not already familiar. But the Berkshires are the furthest point west in Massachusetts. We extend geographically all the way from Litchfield County, Connecticut, up to Bennington County, Vermont, running along the New York state border the entire way. The Berkshires itself is made up of 32 communities with 2 cities and another 8 or 10 larger towns that have nice little vibrant downtowns and lots going on. And we really kind of traverse the Berkshires through key driving routes and byways, accessing off Route 7 and 20, which extends all the way from Connecticut up to Vermont. Route 8, which takes us through the Berkshires, more on the eastern side of the Berkshires, north to south, up on the other, we call it the other side of Mount Greylock. Route 7's one side, Route 8's the other. Tremendous views and things to experience on both sides. And then also the Route 2 corridor, which runs along the northern edge of Massachusetts, east to west, and takes us along the Mohawk Trail, which extends into the Berkshires, where there's just probably some of the best foliage in the world. And right now is really kind of heading into its peak weekend. And I think probably this coming weekend and the weekend after will be tremendous, tremendous foliage. We're just starting to see those bright reds and those bright oranges and those yellows pop. I gauge it by 2 red maple trees in my front yard. As soon as they start to turn bright red, we know the foliage is popping in the Berkshires.
That's a great barometer, Jonathan.
So I'd like to encourage everyone listening as well. I'm going to try to run through as many, cite as many specific properties and experiences as we can in just a couple of minutes, but there's so much more and I can really only scratch the surface. So please log on to our website, berkshires.org, which has a tremendous inventory of things to do here. You can build an itinerary. And for additional information and to see some of those beautiful visuals in the Berkshires like you're seeing on the screen right now, log on to the Berkshires of Western Mass on Facebook and Instagram. So a little bit of background about the summer in the Berkshires. Obviously, summer for all of us everywhere was very different. Typically, our peak season in the Berkshires leans on nature and culture. Experiencing the outdoors in the Berkshires, and then obviously the tremendous depth of cultural experiences we have, from the performing arts to museums, historical sites, and all types of great just cultural tourism that we're blessed to have here in the Berkshires. Because of changes with the pandemic, obviously there was a shift there. Performing arts had to take a step back this summer, but we were fortunate to get many of our museums open. And we've seen this rise in outdoor recreational activity and investment in outdoor recreation, hiking, biking, adventure experiences in recent years. And this summer, it really just took off because of the way that we're located. You know, I think people really were looking to escape urban areas. They were looking to get out into the outdoors. And the Berkshires, which typically attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors from Connecticut and New York, from Eastern Massachusetts, really benefited from that. And we really kind of promoted the Berkshires as the backyard to get away from everything that's happening in the world right now. And we saw a huge, we actually saw many of our recreational properties saw bigger numbers this summer than they have in previous years. So, you know, it helped kind of fill that void of some things that weren't able to operate as they typically would. But at the same time, I think gives us a lot of optimism about the future, because we're seeing that part of our economy just continue to expand. And what better way to experience the fall foliage than hiking and biking and outdoor adventure and the like? So I'll run through a few of those things and just kind of speak to, you know, some of the key places that people might want to try to visit if they're passing through on a day trip or they're coming here for a couple of nights. But we'll start with hiking. The Berkshires is such a great hiking destination. Our mountains really give you some tremendous visual opportunities to see different landscapes and, you know, look from one end of the state to the other, or out to New York or up to Vermont or down to Connecticut. My wife and I actually live in Adams, Massachusetts, up here in northern Berkshire, and we're blessed to be just about a quarter of a mile down the road from the access point to the Mount Greylock State Reservation and the Greylock Glen hiking system. That trail system is great for hikers of all levels of experience, whether you have your children with you or you want to bring your pets, or you're looking to do something more adventurous up to the summit of Mount Greylock. There's over 30 miles of trails in the Greylock Glen system, and then really a countless number of miles of trails along the Mount Greylock State Reservation. We're also blessed in the Berkshires to have land preservation organizations like the Trustees of Reservation, which manage Notchview and a few other properties for hiking, as well as the Berkshire Natural Resources Council, which have over 50 miles of trails maintained throughout the Berkshires. Those trails as well, there's great information on berkshires.org about them. But again, it's an opportunity to access the outdoors, see the foliage, and you can really do it at all different levels of difficulty. It's family-friendly type of activity. Additional sites in the Berkshires that I'll note are just Mass Audubon's Pleasant Valley Wildlife Sanctuary is a beautiful destination in central and southern Berkshire County, and also the October Mountain State Forest, which kind of goes from southern Pittsfield down into the southern Berkshires and provides dozens of miles of trails and some historical experiences along the way. It's also worth noting the Appalachian Trail, which runs from Georgia all the way up into New England, completely traverses the Berkshires from the Connecticut border up through Vermont. So people that are looking to kind of walk a part of, get a national experience and do a piece of that in the Berkshires, there's several access points where you can hike some of the Appalachian Trail. I'll drop a little line for a new business called Berkshire Camino, which actually will work with you to put together curated, contemplative, half-day walking experiences through the Berkshires. So people that might be intimidated on putting together their own itinerary, this is a great, you can access Berkshire Camino's information on our website, but it's a great opportunity to have someone work with you and show you an experience in the Berkshires. Biking is another area of outdoor recreation that is really taking off in the Berkshires. There's a lot of inspiration being taken from the Northern Kingdom up in Vermont, where mountain biking is really, it's front and center in terms of bringing in a lot of economic activity. We're starting to see those types of investments in the Berkshires. But even for family-friendly biking, the Ashawiltacook Rail Trail runs from Adams, Massachusetts, all the way into Pittsfield. It's over 20 miles of a paved, beautiful bike trail where you can experience lake views, plenty of vistas. It's, again, family-friendly for people of all different activity levels. Another sort of curated bike experience is a ride along the Upper Husatonic Valley National Heritage Area in southern Berkshire, which takes you through 5 different southern Berkshire towns, some beautiful lookout points, and also plenty of different historical attractions along the way. And you get the opportunity to stop into some of our great downtowns and experience some of the retail and dining and things that happen there. For the mountain bikers that are looking for a more challenging experience, the Greylock Glen on the Mount Greylock State Reservation also has several dozen miles of trails now for more rustic mountain biking. And the Thunder Mountain Bike Park at Berkshire East, which is on Route 2 up in Charlemont, Massachusetts, is a progression bike park built for the more skilled mountain biking enthusiasts, but there's also introductory trails for people just getting into it. But for people looking for a more adventurous experience, there's a lot of that being offered now for biking in the Berkshires. And the other thing that's good about those of you that are taking day trips to the Berkshires that might not have access to bikes, there's plenty of shops that rent bikes in the Berkshires. To name a few, Plains Bike, Ski, and Snowboard in Pittsfield, Berkshire Bike and Board in Pittsfield, and Berkshire Outfitters in Adams, Massachusetts. If you stop into any of those shops, they'll set you up good for whatever you're looking to do. Adventure is part of this outdoor experience. You know, some people like to walk, some people like to sit and enjoy, some people like to pick apples, and some people like to really get out and work up a sweat. So we've had a lot of that happening in the Berkshires. I like to point out the experiences at Jiminy Peak Mountain Resort. Jiminy Peak is certainly famous for skiing in the region, but in the off season and in the fall, you can enjoy their mountain coaster and their alpine slide, family-friendly activities. And there's also some mountain biking available, access via the chairlift at Jiminy Peak. The Zor Outdoor Park, again up on the Mohawk Trail, running through Charlemont and that part of the region, features zip lining and outdoor whitewater rafting. And the Berkshires Mountain Resort, which is right along the same corridor as Zor Outdoor, also has zip lining in their own mountain coaster. So along that Mohawk Trail, along with beautiful foliage and some great experiences, there's some great adventure opportunities for everybody as well. Looking down to southern Berkshire and that adventure, one of the new exciting destinations is the Catamount ski area in their off-season summer and fall outdoor recreation. They actually invested in it and now have the longest zip line in the United States, as well as an aerial adventure park. Our staff had the opportunity to enjoy that last summer, and I definitely, for those of you that are thrill seekers, there's probably not much better of an opportunity than that in the Berkshire region, so check it out. And then also another destination that's received national accolades is the aerial adventure park at Ramblewild in New Ashford, Massachusetts, running along that Route 7 corridor to the west of Mount Greylock. For people looking for more family-friendly experiences, much like Diane shared in the Johnny Appleseed and that whole region, you know, we have countless orchards and opportunities to get out and experience local farms, picking your own produce. So I definitely would recommend people log on to our website and look at some of those. Just to cite a few that many people enjoy, Whitney's Farm and Outdoor Center in Lanesboro, Mass. has a tremendous experience for families. You can pick pumpkins, you can go on hay rides. There's an opportunity for your kids to enjoy all types of different activities. It's a great place. Typically, when you're going by there on a Saturday and Sunday, you'll notice it's very popular. There's lots of cars, lots of activity. And the Hilltop Orchards and Furnace Brook Winery, located in Richmond, Mass, is another personal favorite of many of ours. Beautiful, beautiful orchard. You can do apple picking, but they have a tremendous country store. They make their own cider, they make their own wine, and they make their own hard cider. So it's both parents and child friendly. Everybody can get what they want there. But one of those destinations that's just a beautiful Berkshire experience. And then the other thing that I did want to just add is, you know, it's certainly culture remains our backbone here in the Berkshires, and it's still thriving despite some of the limitations created because of the pandemic. In July, a lot of our larger cultural institutions were able to reopen, and they offer great family-friendly experiences for people. The Norman Rockwell Museum down in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, is open, obviously, their galleries are open, but additionally, just the grounds at Norman Rockwell are tremendous. They do a lot of live programming and music, so check out their website or go onto our site and see what's happening there, but I definitely encourage stopping at the Norman Rockwell Museum. Similarly, the Clark Art Institute up in Williamstown is a great stop for families. Obviously, world-class art at the Clark. Their holdings are tremendous, but in addition to it, their entire campus has been transitioned into in recent years into an outdoor experience. There's miles of hiking trails. They have a reflective pool where you can have a picnic lunch outside. Just a great spot to check out. And then also a personal favorite of mine is Mass Moca. Mass Moca, obviously the largest contemporary art museum in North America. Also boasts a tremendous campus. They have a brewery, Bright Ideas. They have barbecue. They have a number of different retail shops and really a whole campus that has been very COVID friendly, setting up great parameters for social distancing and a place where people can really feel safe, but at the same time experience a tremendous taste of the Berkshires. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention, you know, I always consider the backbone of the Berkshires, and the reason why I love living here is our downtowns. You know, whether it's Great Barrington or Lenox, Stockbridge, the revitalization of downtown North Adams, of downtown Pittsfield, there's just so many things to do in our downtowns. Many of our restaurants are open. They've found ways to be creative, and they still have outdoor dining, which fingers crossed, hopefully we'll have a few more weeks of. But even beyond that, they've found some creative partnerships and ways to welcome guests in a very safe way. And our downtowns really just are fun places. They're beautiful. You can experience the foliage, from the setting of a beautiful table outside with a glass of wine and some world-class food. And I just encourage people that are coming through the Berkshires to take some time and enjoy those downtowns. Those small businesses appreciate it, and they do a great job to welcome visitors. So I'm going to stop there. I'm sure we're going to have some dialogue, but that's just kind of a snapshot of the Berkshires. I love this place, and I encourage all of you to try to get here, to get out of, to get away from, whatever it is you're trying to escape.
We can tell that you love it, Jonathan. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought up the restaurants, because my husband and I spent a terrific week in the Berkshires at the end of June. And we went to a place called Patrick's Pub in downtown Pittsfield, which is a very lively downtown. And we liked it so much, we went back twice, and all outdoor dining and, so many great restaurants. And, so many museums, as you said. Norman Rockwell was not open when we were there, nor was Mass Moca, but I've been to both those museums, and they're just tremendous places. So, so much to offer, in that region, for sure. So we do have a couple of questions, and I think these are actually coming from my neighbor who watches the webinars, and she always has good questions. And one of them, and I'm going to start with you, Bill, on this, is, do you find that you are experiencing a second season right now with travelers who are looking for a little bit more isolation, looking for wide open spaces during COVID? Do you find that, Bill, that you have people who are coming to the Cape for the shoulder season, as you call it there, or the second summer? You're muted, Bill. You're going to have to open your microphone.
There we are.
Perfect.
Wendy Northcross just charged me to publicize a new initiative called Sail into Cape Cod's Second Summer. Because our weather has been so wonderful this year. This summer was a sizzler, but right now it's so incredibly pleasant. Our hotels and B&Bs and rental properties are experiencing less numbers of customers, but much longer stays. And instead of staying for a week or two, some people are renting for 3 months. People are staying for 2 weeks at B&Bs, much longer stays for social distancing. We just did a great promotion, not promotion. I have the travel editor of the Boston Herald is a close colleague of mine, and she emailed me one day and said, Bill, I just want to go to a property and do a workcation so I can answer the question, is it worth it? Can you really work there? And of course, I sent her
I want a workation. That sounds great.
Sent her to Chatham Bars Inn. And the day before she was due to arrive, after I got her a check-in at 9 a.m. in the morning, I wrote to her and said, okay, you're all set, here's your confirmation. And she said, oh my God, I have an interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci on Monday. I don't know if I can do it. And I said, please. I elbow bent for 2 days to get them to let you check in at 9 a.m., etc. And after walking her back from the edge of the cliff, she finally agreed to do it. And she did a brilliant article about workcation on the Cape, and can you really do it? And she said it was amazing. It was like rewarding yourself for working really hard. And she had 3-hour-long back-to-back interviews from Chatham Bars Inn, overlooking the ocean, talking to Anthony Fauci, telling him about Chatham Bars Inn. And now he said, send me the link to this property. I want to go there now. So that's just one example of how we're trying to extend the season. And I do think, and some of our properties are full on weekends. So I think that is working. People are loving the idea that they can get away with their families or with their loved ones or a couple. Restaurants are open, fortunately. We still have great weather. We have endless amounts of beaches and activities for people. We have main streets open. We have shops open, galleries open. Shopping is what I said. What do you want me to mention? And they said three things: shopping, and shopping. And shops are open. They're comfortable. I mean, you don't look like a leper when you walk in with a mask. So yes, I agree. It's totally happening here. I mean, we came back from Westport last weekend on Saturday, and there was a mile backup getting over the bridge on a Saturday in the beginning of the end of September, beginning of October. So it appears to be working for now anyway. Once the weather turns, if it does, if we get a nor'easter that'll pull all the foliage down from the trees, or a hurricane, heaven forbid, then I think we'll last maybe through Thanksgiving. That's what we're banking on.
That's why we have to take advantage of this great weather that we're having now so that we can support local businesses, support the restaurants, keep eating outside, all of that. And Jonathan, I saw you shaking your head yes when Bill was talking about workations and people who are booking for longer periods of time. He mentioned 3 months. Are you seeing that in the Berkshires as well?
Well, we have a large second homeowner population in the Berkshires, and we've been saying they've been with us since March. So typically,
A lot of workations.
yes, and fortunately, as a region, we've had pretty good investment in broadband. There's a ways to go, but it's enabled a lot of people, I think, to live out of their second homes while working. So we've the one small catalyst for us during this otherwise challenging 2020 has been that I think we've probably had a lot more spending from our second homeowners than we would in a typical season because they're with us for a longer duration. But likewise, there is some longer term bookings happening at sharing economy properties through VRBO and Airbnb. I know that there is a lot of like full week bookings at some of our lodging properties that are allowing for that. So we're kind of seeing the full spectrum of trends, but I think average room nights in terms of, I think the volume of people that are booking extended stays is probably higher than typical.
Wow, that's great to hear. That really is. And Diane, are you finding the same? Are you finding that, we talked about the renewed interest in hiking, for example, in your area and at Mount Wachusett and other hiking trails. Are you finding the same that, for example, the pumpkin picking fields, the apple orchards, all of those things are attracting perhaps even more people this year as people look to get outdoors where it's safer right now?
I think so. I think we're known for like a daycation, that you come for the whole day, you spend it, you go home tired, that you've bought your pumpkin, you got your apple pie, you got your cider donuts, you picked up your hard cider, your regular cider, you've hit all the places along the way. All the farmers markets are bustling with, fruits and vegetables and so forth. So people know to come for the day and find it. Pumpkins are awesome to pick in the fields. People love going and doing that, and their kids sitting on top of the biggest one, and those kinds of things. We do pumpkin weighing contests out here. So we do those kind of things that, who grew the biggest one? You have bragging rights for sure. So pumpkins is a big thing for our area. The apple orchards, we have dozens and dozens of different varieties of apples that you can pick. So if you like something tart to sweet to in between to golden delicious, the apple varieties are quite extensive. And that's what people are doing. They're looking for their favorite and trying a new one.
So, I have another question here. And by the way, I have to thank all of you for the tremendous photos because they really enhance the webinar so much. And anybody who's not looking to get out to all of those beautiful destinations that you all showed us on the screen is really missing out. But our second question is from an audience member who has an RV. And of course, RVs, as you know, have been really popular during this time of COVID-19 because they allow families to isolate in one place that they know is sanitary, et cetera, and they can control the environment. Are there great RV campgrounds available in your areas? And we don't have a lot of time, but Bill, I'll start with you if you can tell us what's available on the Cape.
Oh, we do. Well, one of the most famous ones is the Dunes Edge campground in Provincetown. It's right on the beach, and it's absolutely amazing. Quite honestly, I don't know that much about them because they don't pay lodging tax, which funds our grant, quite honestly. So I don't know a lot about them. And we've had travel writers coming to want to get complimentary camping sites. And, I have worked with some of them, but, when there was a choice between putting my effort into somebody from Condé Nast Traveler or an RV publication, we opted for the first one. But there are probably have to be 12 to 15 campgrounds across the Cape, some in Falmouth, some in Truro, Provincetown, but I'm not exactly sure where the rest of them are. One of the campgrounds in Sippawisset in Falmouth has just been converted into a auto camp. I don't know if you know what that is. It will be opening in March. It is a 21 unit hotel where the rooms are Airstream trailers. And
Really?
it is brilliant. It's
Huh.
opening in March. AutoCamp, AAC.com. I think it's maybe AutoCamp Cape Cod, but it is going to be amazing. I saw preview photos of the inside. They're absolutely glorious. They are, feel like you're a king. Luxurious amenities, beautiful bedding. It's going to be quite something, and I think it is going to be, it's going to book up constantly. I think it's going to be a real winner. They have
Well,
one in
talk
Cal-
about creative. That sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. And
It
thanks
is-
for
it
letting
is.
us know about that.
Well, you know, I didn't know anything about it until they sent me the preview, and then the photos were just spectacular. Just a truly unique experience for lodging.
All right, autocampcapecod.com. And Jonathan, what about you? What do we have for RV camps in the Berkshires that people can enjoy?
Sure. So there's actually a wonderful RV camp at the base of Mount Greylock, the Mount Greylock campsite in Lanesboro. But otherwise, I would just encourage people considering time right now to log on to berkshires.org. There's some more information about that. But whether it's along the Route 2 corridor on the Mohawk Trail or in some of our state parks and state forests that are DCR land, there's some great options for RV camping and for camping in general. So I would encourage people to consider that. It's a very cost-effective way to experience the Berkshires, but still get yourselves into the downtowns, get yourselves out to some of the other attractions.
And Diane, I'll put the same question to you. If people are looking to do a daycation, as you said, or a staycation or a longer vacation in Central Mass or North Central Mass, what's available in terms of RV parks there?
There's 3 that are local that I can tell you, and I have checked with them a couple times throughout the season, and they are booked. People are staying. They're staying longer. They're staying for extended period of time. It's their second home, I guess you could say. So it's their second home location. Pine Acres, Lamb City, The Pines. We have state parks that have a lot of capacity that they can take 150 campers and so forth. So the DCR properties, trustees, there's camping available in the state parks that are in this area too. But people are coming, and they're always hitting their capacities. So it is something they're looking to be outside.
But Mary, just one thing I just remembered. There's also Nickerson State Park that has, I'm not sure it's a tremendous park, huge, thousands of acres. They have campsites, and they also rent yurts, you know, those kind of weird shaped tents. I mean, I had never seen one.
You haven't lived until you've slept in a yurt.
But they're really quite roomy. I mean, I didn't see the inside except through a photo. I saw the outside, but they look quite roomy inside. And of course, the material allows the light come in, so it's a really soft, kind of ethereal light inside too. Very unique experience, and it's a tremendous park, of course.
It really is, and I see it when I drive onto the Cape, and I was actually going to mention that, Bill, so I'm glad that you mentioned that here at the close of our program. Well, I have to say that I feel so lucky to live in Massachusetts right now, having listened to the 3 of you. That's going to do it for us this morning. A big, big thank you to our interesting and passionate panelists for providing us with so many great tips for driving, biking, and boating, kayaking, canoeing while enjoying the fall colors. And don't forget that it's also an easy drive to Vermont and Connecticut from the Berkshires, and a quick drive to southern New Hampshire from Central Mass. So enjoy our neighboring states as well. And we're always happy to help you map your fall foliage tour at AAA.com and at all of our AAA branches in Massachusetts. We have 30 in Massachusetts, so there's bound to be one near you. So visit AAA.com or any branch for a triptych, maps, and tour books. Always happy to assist our members. A big thank you to our audience as well for their great questions, and a shout out to our behind the scenes engineers, Alex Slatke and Mark Shieldrop, for their great work. We couldn't do it without you guys. It could be a very long winter this year, so get out there now and enjoy the fall colors. Stay safe. And have a great day. That's right. It's all here in Massachusetts. Absolutely. I'm going to. I know I'm going to. So thanks again to our panelists who really did a tremendous job. So many wonderful ideas. And have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. For AAA Northeast, I'm Mary McGuire. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.